Hey guys, I'm Kev.
Yo, this is Del.
I am TB.
And Zainal here.
And we are
The Wayang Crew. Oh yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast. That's right. It's, of course, your weekly movie podcast where we talk about all things movies, especially movies that are playing here in Brunei Darussalam. I'm your host, Kev, once again, speaking into this mic to you guys out there. And first up, it's my co-host, it's Del.
Yo.
What's up, Del?
I am here. It's what a weekend. It's been
Busy.
Interesting.
Interesting and stressful, but also exhilarating at the same time. So we just did the Brouhaha show. We put on 2 shows in one weekend, which is the first ever.
Yeah.
In the last 4 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you guys had shows Friday and Saturday.
Which you are there as well. So don't you go you and
pretend.
Why are you drawing a line?
But he was only there on
I'm
Friday.
just playing host here for you to prompt you, all right? We're going to move on to our next co-host. It's the one and only Tibby.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Is this energy high yet?
Yes. Getting there.
Finally.
Finally, after 4 weeks,
Okay.
you come on and you finally...
It's been a good weekend. It's been a good
good weekend.
Yeah.
All right.
Just don't bring up the car.
I was about to. I'm driving a family APV, a Suzuki APV right now. So I'm balling.
Preparing for the future.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. You were also in the Brouhaha show.
Yes.
But you did both nights.
I did both nights. I had to skip my friend's wedding
I know.
for a few hours to go for the second night.
Well, that's commitment.
As long as it's not your wedding, I don't see the problem.
Unless it's a big show, and then maybe your wedding you could skip as well.
Whoa. All right, up next is the third co-host of the Wayang Crew Podcast. It's Zainal.
You okay?
Hey.
As well, I was at the show. There's gonna be a running theme throughout the whole. Like,
I think it's safe to say that this show, the Wayang Crew Podcast, is kind of an offshoot of Brouhaha.
I know, yeah.
It is.
It was like Del said, it was stressful at times, but exhilarating, and quite like now that it's passed, I think it was a great weekend. First time we put on 2 shows, we had one. Well, in total, we had 330 people coming to the show.
Yeah,
which is, and then one of the night is by far the biggest crowd we had. So overall, great weekend.
Yep. Good. And you've heard him already on this podcast. We have a special guest on today's episode. It's Nadzri.
Hey, Kev.
What's up?
Stop. So I was at a comedy show.
Really?
just in case. I was on the comedy show. I was on Friday, Saturday night with Brouhaha.
First time, yeah.
Apart from that, broke my phone.
Nadzri joined Brouhaha for the very first time to do something different, which was a magic show element to the show, magic/comedy.
Yeah.
And I just have to say this because I haven't said this to you in person. Like, the crowd loved it.
Oh,
Thanks, man. That was really nice. That's a nice thing to say. Thank you, Kevin.
the
I'll give you the $5 later.
The comics loved it as well.
Some were angry. How does he do it?
Tell us.
I know, it's like the comic, like only one comic.
All right. On this episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast, we're talking about the DCEU, what they have done and what we think about it and what we hope to come. This is running up to Justice League, which is releasing in Brunei next week. So we're all very excited about that. But we'll get to more of that after our weekly segment, which is the news. And the first bit of news is that Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, is totally into filming a Thor/Spider-Man movie. So he's now put it out there at the various press junkets. He's like, I wouldn't mind shooting a movie with Spider-Man. All right.
That sounds like.
What do you think about this, guys?
I noticed in your last 2 podcasts, you actually mentioned that the director wanted to shoot
Black Widow.
wanted to shoot Black Widow. And I think TB made the comment like, "Hey, you should be shooting Spider-Man instead. A little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more funny." So if that's the case, then maybe something could work.
I think Nadzri is putting us to shame because I don't even remember what we said.
I remember.
Because I think he actually like listened back to the podcast like, in preparation.
Like this morning.
Yeah.
Like, what is this show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't feel excited about it because they both have strong comedic elements to it. Then it becomes like maybe a little bit too much comedy.
Too funny?
Too funny. Like if you some of the formulas would be like one guy is a serious man, the other guy is a funny man, and then you put them in a movie, and then the dynamic becomes great. But this is two funny people.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be too funny. Two Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
But it could be like, the other guys. Now Chris Hemsworth can be the serious guy. Spider-Man can be the funny guy.
If that's the case, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm all for it. But if it's too comedic, I don't know. That's potentially too funny.
How do you get Chris Hemsworth back into a serious role now that Ragnarok has just...
Like thrown that all out the window.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think, he started off as the serious superhero for Thor 1 and Thor 2. And, he was always the slightly funny guy in Avengers. But then Thor Ragnarok came out and he's just Mr. Funny Man.
Yeah.
I think it'll be quite interesting to see Thor and Spider-Man sort of work because we haven't seen them on screen together.
Yeah.
That's the only pairing we haven't seen because Thor was not in Civil War. But yeah, Marvel, if you're listening, yeah, we're all for this. All right.
You heard it here first.
Okay, moving on to the next bit of news. Kevin Smith, who is Silent Bob, is sort of responsible for Thor's haircut in Thor Ragnarok.
What?
Yeah, because now Chris Hemsworth has come up and said it. He said that he heard Kevin Smith on his podcast talk about how Thor was kind of like, why does he have long hair? Blah, 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 blah. And he said, yeah, I think we're going to have to change the character.
Why? Kevin Smith. I mean, Kevin Smith, if you're listening, why did you say that? Because in the comics, in all the source material, Thor always had long hair.
Uh-huh.
And why is that? What's his reasoning for wanting Thor to have a big haircut?
Because Chris Hemsworth said that hearing someone like Smith, who represents the fanboy world, was such a kick in the butt to change gears.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I read an article similar to that as well. And I think the article I read said that not only was the haircut, but it was the style of Black Thor as well. And I think in terms of how he acts on the screen.
Like too ominous, too serious.
Yeah.
When the other heroes are becoming a bit more lighthearted, he's still sort of, I am Thor from Asgard.
Yeah.
But he's Thor from Asgard.
Which is the point. All right, we're going to move on to the next bit of news, which is a report. It's not really news, but the Disney and Fox deal was real, and this is in relation to the Fantastic Four, but is now dead.
So what? It's dead.
So we won't be seeing Fantastic Four in the...
So apparently, over the last several months, Disney and Fox have been in talks to sort of, do a Universal Marvel type deal, what they have with Hulk, to sort of borrow the character or maybe shift it back to Marvel. But over the last several weeks, it's not happening anymore. They're not talking.
Have they even started talking in the first place?
Yeah, they did start
because
talking.
From what I kind of read somewhere, that they were looking into it, but they never started negotiations.
Yeah, this article says that there were negotiations, but now they've gone cold. But then there is a sliver of hope here, and the sliver of hope is that we got the same sort of news from Marvel and Sony with relation to Spider-Man. Like there were reports coming out saying, no, the talks have broken down and it's not happening anymore. And then we got Spider-Man Homecoming and Civil War. So there's still hope, guys.
Yeah, and also if Fox does not put out any more Fantastic Four movies, the rights will go back to Marvel automatically. Yeah. But we don't know how long that is. I think it's like 8 years or something. So between the last Fantastic Four and then maybe 8 years, they have to put out one more.
This was the Josh Trank Fantastic Four?
Yes.
The really bad one.
Yes.
just give it back, guys. Just give it back to Marvel.
But then again, the article, I'm sure, did not specify also that if there were any deals being made in the past, maybe Fantastic Four has already given back to Marvel, and Marvel is going to use next phase to release Fantastic Four into the MCU.
I would like to believe that Marvel is sort of psyching us out here.
Yeah,
they're trying to shift
throw
everything,
the heat off,
and then just surprises. Look, Fantastic Four in
That's-
Infinity War.
Yeah, Kevin Feige style.
All right. Moving on to DC. We talked about how Zachary Levi was cast as Shazam, which, it's starting to gain traction and people are sort of becoming more accepting to this casting. I'll admit that myself and TB were not aware of what Shazam was or his background. And apparently he's a boy who has superpowers and he says Shazam and he becomes like a Superman type character. Now, they've casted Zachary Levi and they've casted a young actor, Asher Angel, who will play the role of the young Billy Batson.
Has he been to any movies?
Is this the role that they wanted The Rock to be in?
The Rock is Black Adam.
Yeah.
Black Adam.
Like no, when he first started getting big, and they were like, he should be a superhero and he should be Shazam. Was that no?
I think he kind of rallied for it. Like, he's a big dude, and people wanted him to be a superhero, I think he was always, I think, sort of related to the Shazam movie. But then I think when he finally announced he was Black Adam, I think.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing was that when he was announced as Black Adam, the fans or the internet were saying that then you need someone equally big to play Shazam. But now they've got Zachary Levi, who is
Not big.
not even half of
The
The Rock in size.
He will grow, guys. He
Yeah,
will grow.
sure,
but he
yeah.
can't grow up into another Rock kind of stuff.
No.
I thought they would have what's the other wrestler's name? They would have
Batista?
want the funny guy who's voicing Ferdinand. The comedy. What? No, Ferdinand, the cartoon bull.
What?
The animated bull. Come on, it's coming out next month.
I'm sorry, you're saying there's a wrestler who voices a bull.
Yes, John Cena. Come on,
We couldn't see him.
come on.
Now that you mention it, he kind of looks like a bull. Okay, we're going to move it on to this next bit of news, which is regarding Flashpoint. And Warner Brothers is close to hiring a director. Now, we talked about this on the last show, which was a bit of news, saying that the success of Justice League will determine whether or not Flashpoint gets made. Now, with Ezra Miller's Flash already emerging as a breakout character of Justice League, Warner Brothers is making production of Flashpoint a priority.
So that means Ben Affleck is out.
Inadvertently, just sort of reboot the whole thing. You're like, yeah, those first two movies did not happen.
Yep.
What do you think about this? I mean, any DC fans in the house?
I'm a
Huge DC fan. Go on.
Flashpoint's probably one of the more interesting, I think, storylines. And Ezra Miller, I like his awkward, antics, especially in the new Justice League trailer where they're on the roof and he's just super awkward, and I love it. I'm a huge fan already. I really hope it comes through.
But what about the possibility of Ben Affleck being shipped off and not being Batman anymore? And
I think we'll know by Wednesday when we watch it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because I was actually hoping that the reviews will come in so strongly for Ben Affleck that this is the best Ben Affleck best Batman.
yeah.
And then maybe he'll stay on, because I would like to see him do at least one Batman movie before
Solo
he
movie?
retires. Yeah, solo movie.
Because his style, his Batman style changed from, BVS. And then you see him in the Justice League trailers. He's more of he went from very serious dad to like the fun uncle.
Right.
Right? Like that shift, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we've talked a little bit on the show about Aquaman and how we've not heard very much about the production or the story, and maybe it's a good thing. But of course, Jason Momoa is at the press junkets for Justice League, and of course, inevitably, he will be asked about what he thinks about Aquaman. And he says that, he promises that giant ships will appear in the movie, and guys riding sharks.
That sounds amazing.
Love it. I love it already.
Sign me up, right? Like
Guys riding sharks.
It is in the comics, right?
like what else could you ride? Like he's not gonna ride around on a seahorse like he does in the comics.
Oh yeah, the seahorse.
He will, right?
I forgot that. I forgot
like
the
a giant seahorse.
Yeah.
But how excited are we about Aquaman?
I don't know. I prefer dolphins.
You prefer riding dolphins?
Yeah, because they're like friendlier and they look like they understand commands.
They look like.
You guys remember that cartoon back in the 90s, right? There's this Visionaries. No, they've got a plate on their chest with 3D images for the toys.
Is this actually 90s or 80s now?
It's early 90s, okay? It's called Visionaries. Look it up. Come on. Never mind. Then if you guys don't know, I won't continue talking about it. There's no point.
Because there's a brilliant joke here, but not anymore.
But here's the thing though, like something just popped in my head, like this visual of like the Atlanteans or Aquaman riding a giant shark, waging into battle. I'm sure they bleed, right? They would like sort of throw the sharks off. Like the shark goes,
and then they
I'm
become
sure
zombies.
The sharks are trained to not eat their riders. How they were trained to have riders in the first place.
That's what the fins are for.
Okay, we touched a bit about Ben Affleck and how he may or may not still be in the DCEU after Justice League, but that's up for debate. Ben Affleck himself is unsure of his Batman future post Justice League. I don't know, man. I want him to be Batman. Like he proved himself in BVS. You know, he silenced all the haters and all the critics who were saying that he's not a good Batman, and then he showed up on screen. I'm like, yeah, I buy it. He's Batman.
He's the biggest.
I agree. He's a big boy. He just looked the part, man. It's true. He's a big boy, man. Like, he is swole AF.
As fire.
As fire.
Lit.
Swole as fire.
Please, but Ben Affleck, please reconsider and stay on as Batman.
I think he's just burnt too much from the studio. He first got the directing gig and then the writing gig, and then they both didn't like it. They didn't like both of what he did. So I think he's
heartbroken.
He has this is an actor with a bat cave inside his own house, right?
He has his own bat cave.
He's like the biggest Batman fan, and then to be rejected that way by the studio, I guess. But there's so much ego the ego can take.
It's the heart. The heart
cannot take
so much. The heart.
The heart. What? Okay, next bit of news. Now, Marvel's Kevin Feige can't wait to see Justice League.
I like this. I like the fact that there's like
supporting each other.
Yeah, he says, I think movies are awesome and people should go out and support awesome movies. And I go support those movies. And I thought Wonder Woman was awesome. I can't wait to see Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon and the gang have done with Justice League.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, he has to, because if he doesn't, then it's only one side of the camp that's doing superhero movies, and then you need the competition. You need that competition to fire each other up.
To keep your edge, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice to see, because a couple of weeks ago we talked about how the cast of Marvel, like Infinity War, they were sort of saying that, we actually want to see what Justice League is like, and they're in support. Justice League's 2-hour runtime was apparently ordered by Warner Brothers. Now, we're going to be talking about the DCEU movies today, later on in the show, and it's become very apparent that they like to sort of push the envelope a little bit. I mean, Batman vs. Superman, they had a cut that was 2 hours and 50 minutes. It was close to 3. And a lot of people were saying, I want my 3 hours back because it was that bad. But then I guess the execs are sort of sensing that, that's not the way to do it. People have a limited attention span and we need to sort of compact it a little bit more and make it more concise. So yeah, the report here is that the 2-hour runtime, which we talked about 121 minutes for Justice League, was reportedly ordered by the Warner Brothers CEO himself. And I think it's proven to sort of work because the test screenings of Justice League have reportedly scored close to Wonder Woman.
Oh.
Yeah. There is hope, guys. But we shall see. We shall see on the
Wednesday,
15th of November. That's when Justice League is showing here in Brunei cinemas. So if you haven't got your tickets, do so. Yeah. Right?
I know.
We all agree. Yeah.
Sorry.
Very excited.
My mind went sidetracked because I was thinking 15th November. Is that V for Vendetta? Yeah.
Remember.
The 5th of November?
5th of November.
5th, not 15th. Okay.
No. Wait.
I sidetracked. Sorry, I sidetracked.
He didn't remember.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. In BVS, it did feel like there were some parts that dragged on a little bit.
Some parts, like you mean the first 1 hour?
Oh my god.
So I think maybe a 2-hour runtime could,
Help it.
for sure.
Yeah, it has to. All right. We've talked about how Henry Cavill's mustache during the reshoots of Justice League could not be shaved off due to contractual issues between Universal, I want to say. No. Well, he was shooting Mission Impossible 5.
Paramount.
Yeah, Paramount.
Might be Paramount.
So Paramount did not play nice with Warner Brothers and said that, look, you can have him back for the reshoots, but you're not going to shave off his mustache. So, Henry Cavill's mustache had to be digitally removed for all of the scenes.
Oh my goodness.
Because Paramount's like, either you CGI off his mustache or I have to CGI on his mustache.
What happened to makeup?
No.
I mean,
It's a thick mustache, like those.
like a burly, like full-on,
Yeah.
like a Tibby mustache.
Well, but no, but
You could.
No,
make
it's
up this
it's
out.
thicker than this one.
Ben Affleck has
Yeah.
actually come out and said, he joked about it. He said that, yeah, Henry Cavill was on the set in his Superman suit in a quote-unquote porn star mustache.
I'm just imagining the CGI guys. What you guys doing now? Just getting rid of Henry Cavill's mustache.
How do we feel about a Superman with a mustache? Better than the mullet, right? Better than the Superman mullet.
I don't know, man.
mullet.
I don't know.
Superman had the mullet, bro.
I'll
Yeah,
take the
mullet.
mullet over the mustache.
I don't think I can take it seriously.
I would go mustache mullet, Superman mullet.
Unless
You
this.
You probably start thinking, watching the show, and then you're like, wait, is this Superman or the adult film?
Exactly.
Are we expecting a song coming up? Like, twang, twang, twang?
This is like Justice League After Dark.
Okay, we're enjoying this a little too.
All right, the stars of Justice League. We're talking about Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot and Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa. They endorse and they're sort of in support of a DC/Marvel crossover movie.
What kind of? Sorry, I can't contain myself. What kind of crap is this? This is not a comics. You can't do that.
Well,
I don't know, man. It's not for me. Not for me. I don't know about you guys. It's just ridiculous.
One of my favorite comics back in the day was the Amalgam comics.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Like,
I
what was
did
it?
not
Dark,
like it.
Dark Claw,
Yeah.
Spider Boy, all that stuff.
Nope.
You're not feeling it?
Nope. Not at all. It's not mixing butter and chicken, okay? Butter, chicken, butter. They come together.
I love butter and chicken.
Yeah, that's the worst analogy. Buttermilk chicken?
No, there's also butter chicken.
That's why he said it's not like.
It's not like butter chicken.
Sorry.
Those two come together, okay?
I like how the first thing that came to his head was like butter and chicken.
You hungry?
Not butter and bread. But
Butter
chicken.
and chicken.
I don't know. I did too much of the milk joke this weekend, and it's just spilling over.
oh dear. This is how you know that Del is really Asian. It's like butter chicken. You're like, okay.
Is it like butter? No, nothing is like butter chicken.
If you're not butter chicken, you don't compensate.
Oh my goodness.
So I guess it's safe to say that butter chicken is now the official dish of the Wayang Crew.
As long as someone's sponsoring, sure.
All right.
Butter chicken.
All right, we're done with Marvel DC news and we're moving on to other movie news. Now, we talked about the sequel to Unbreakable, which is going to be called Glass. Now, the first photos of Sam Jackson as Mr. Glass himself have surfaced, and wow. You remember how Mr. Glass sort of looked in Unbreakable? Yeah, this is the same with white hair.
Hang on.
He's older.
No. When he was in Unbreakable, it was gray hair, and now it's just white.
No, when he was in Unbreakable, it was black hair.
Oh, really?
And now it's white hair.
How come I've always imagined him in white?
Because
I'm gonna be that guy, guys, but That was one movie I missed.
Really? Unbreakable?
Never watched it.
Then treat yourself, my friend.
Good. Is it like butter chicken?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
I will treat
It
myself
is.
later.
It is superhero mixed with thriller.
What?
Yes.
Kind
Not
of.
the song.
I think
Not the
agree.
song.
No, not the song.
Okay.
Okay, so white hair.
white hair.
Yeah, white hair. I've already have him as a white-haired guy in my head, so
Yeah.
I'm fine.
So this works for you.
Yeah.
Like how excited
Zainal
are you?
is looking on his Zainal TV is
I'm
both
trying to look
taking
at
about their
him.
phones and checking out pictures. So unprofessional.
I
I
know.
want to know what you guys are talking about.
All right, we're gonna move it along to the next bit of news. Some of us here are big fans of the Jurassic World franchise, and here's some news not in relation to Jurassic World.
Why did you bring it up?
That was a classic misdirect.
So
Now-
Lion King is coming. Right?
The Jurassic World screenwriter is going to pen a Metal Gear Solid adaptation for the screen. Now, the man in question is Jurassic World writer Derek Connolly. And according to Variety, he will be penning a script for the video game adaptation. Now, I know Timmy's a big fan of Metal Gear Solid. What do you think about this
I don't
news?
know. I'm just scared they might make it worse.
Because it's already bad to begin with.
if it was in the movie,
I'll just
the game was great.
Okay.
I'm just scared that if the movie is out,
Yeah.
it'll make it
Not great.
Like
Yeah.
overall, the track record for the movie industry of adapting
Video games,
video
yeah.
games to movies has not been
Great at all.
great.
Like
the
we
only one thing that has 7 movies now, Resident Evil, but it's like a mindless zombie version of Too Fast, Too Furious.
Resident Evil for me is like a test ground for new CGI technology now. So every new Resident Evil movie comes out, and it's like they want to try out new CGI stuff.
I guess that didn't work.
So and no one's feeling Mortal Kombat.
No.
I would like to see a Mortal Kombat remake.
Yeah.
A
That'd be
remake, to like an updated version. 'Cause
I-
they did
I-
make a movie, right?
Yeah, that's where the Mortal Kombat comes from.
Dun, 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 dun,
Not
dun,
from the
dun,
game.
No, it was from the game.
dun, dun.
Game first, then movie.
That movie.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't play the game because I'm a Street Fighter guy. Okay.
Street Fighter!
No, but Metal Gear Solid, I think if they at least get the cast right, I think
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
I've never played Metal Gear Solid.
I loved it.
Okay.
Loved it.
Up next, now we've talked about Universal's Dark Universe and how they were trying to kick off this new franchise, sort of modernizing their classic monsters like Frankenstein. We all saw The Mummy. Now, apparently this universe has now lost its top producers, and a lot of people are saying that that's it. This franchise is done because Alex Kurtzman and Chris Morgan have left the studio. Yeah, so
They might be changing direction because I don't think the studio would announce such a big universe, bringing so many
A-list celebrities.
monsters and
A-listers
A-list celebrities,
on, yeah.
plus the franchises together, and then not follow through with it somehow or give it another go. They could be changing direction, changing tone, because the last one that came out, The Mummy, was not a horror movie. It was an action movie,
yeah,
which I think was a mistake.
yeah. And
Because
then,
they should have focused on the horror elements of it.
and then we have news that came out after that where Angelina Jolie was slated to play Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That's been put on hold indefinitely.
Correct.
Johnny Depp, Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Like he wouldn't even have to be there, but
Easiest gig ever.
I'll
just
record
have to
from
voice him out.
Sorry.
You just have to voice him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Invisible
yeah,
Man.
it's
Voice.
voice him.
But if this is dead already, then it's
No big loss.
yeah.
We weren't really that invested. I
I
think.
kinda liked The Mummy. I was feeling hopeful. I was
Okay,
feeling
hopeful.
hopeful. I was feeling hopeful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
I like the action pieces in The Mummy, but the jokes and
Yeah.
they wasted the guy from New Girl. What's his name? John James? No, I can't remember.
The guy who became the mummy.
He
he became like
the
a
guy,
undead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Becoming undead,
The
and it
undead
just
friend.
pops
Yeah,
up
yeah.
whenever he wants to.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Okay, moving on to one of the biggest things that's going to be happening end of this year, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Now, Mark Hamill assures all Star Wars fans that Luke has not gone to the dark side.
Why would he want to go out and say that?
Because it was on the posters, correct?
Yeah,
the
and let
posters-
them wait until December to find it out.
Because Darth Vader and Sidious were always their heads were always looming on the posters
At the back,
in the
like
back.
the big heads.
And
it was
that's
like a
what-
Darth Vader, yeah.
That's what Luke is right now in the new posters. So everyone's just guessing that
Speculating.
he's going into
Yeah.
the dark side. But I don't. Yeah, he's been to the dark side. Why go back to the dark side? He didn't like the dark side.
Because it's cooler.
It's like he tasted butter chicken and didn't like it and then went back. So there's no point for him to go to the dark side anymore.
Are we already sponsored by Butter Chicken?
No, it's the official dish of the Wayang Crew. All right, next bit of Star Wars news, which will be the last bit of news. This is the biggest news that happened this week. Disney has announced that there will be a new Star Wars trilogy after episode 9. And the person that they've chosen to sort of kickstart this new trilogy is Rian Johnson. And here's something that we need to take away from this announcement. This new trilogy will not involve any of the Skywalkers.
They're all gonna die?
Way to go, Zainal.
Spoiler.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, they're in constant contact with the writers. So they know. They told me. No, what? Who's the director? Who's gonna kick it off?
Rian Johnson.
And what has he done?
He's...
Look at this guy judging. Look at this guy's judging.
You just asked a very bad question.
Yeah, you know who he is.
Rian Johnson.
You know who he is? Exactly, guys.
Si Rai.
They'll know.
Si Rai.
Rai ba?
I call him Si Rai.
He's the director for episode 8,
Cool.
which is coming out next month.
Is the new trailer going to be episode 10, 11, 12? Or pre episode?
Trilogy.
So okay,
Oh,
we
the
don't
trilogy.
we don't know what it will be
okay.
because Rian Johnson, he's done such a great work for episode 8, and Kathleen Kennedy and everyone at Lucasfilm decided that he should kick off another trilogy in this universe. But we don't know what era it's gonna take. And I am hoping that it will be the Old Republic, where it's like a full-on war between Sith and Jedi. And there are like thousands of Sith and thousands of Jedi, and you see lightsabers everywhere. So yeah,
Alright.
that's maybe that's the direction. Or he's just gonna take Rey's character and then
Build off.
Build off of that.
go on a new adventure with new characters. Why not? Anything's fine with me, as long as it's called Star Wars.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Star Wars
Except
Christmas special.
yeah. Except that.
A new ho ho ho.
Which will be a double release of the Blu-ray of Justice League After Dark.
Starring Jar Jar Binks.
Comes with a free voucher for butter chicken.
All right, that's the news this week on the Wayang Crew Podcast. If you'd like to get in touch with us here on the show, you can do so via our Gmail account, which is thewayangcrew@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on Twitter. So do check us out on our social media platforms as well. Now we're going to get to the main topic of this episode of the Wayang Crew. We're talking about the DCEU. Now, the movies in question that we will be talking about are Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, and Wonder Woman. So far they've had 4 movies making up the DC Extended Universe, which is a phrase that Warner Brothers himself do not use. Let's start off with Man of Steel. Did you guys sort of watch it or refresh your memories a little bit?
Yeah, recently I did. I think this was 2 months back. I rewatched Man of Steel for the 3rd time or 4th time, and yeah, it's still a good movie. People complain that it's dark or this DC universe is dark, but I really like that dark tone that Zack Snyder created. Maybe not so much for everything else that came after, but
Yeah.
Man of Steel itself was a good movie. It introduced Superman in a different light, showed him in a different light, in a different character, and he's brooding and moody. I'm fine with that as long as, you know, there's a good story to back it up. Unlike the others that came after that, but Man of Steel and the way that he struggled with being a human living in this earth, being an alien living on this earth, sorry, and then losing the father, that was one of the best parts of the movie as well with Kevin Costner. Yeah, I thought this was a good, solid kind
Reboot?
of 7.5 out of 10 kind of movie.
Okay. I think TB and myself watched this movie in the cinema.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the idea of a Superman movie and how it was going to be rebooted and they're going to kick off this new franchise, with the DC comics. But then I don't know. Somewhere in the movie, I sort of got lost and I'm like, what is this? I don't know.
Something was missing.
Something was missing, and I don't know what it is.
I know what it is.
What
was it?
It's the Christopher Reeves element of it. Like
What?
how Superman always saves people in the nick of time and stop a plane from crashing, and just very kind of like for Superman standard, a mundane activity.
Feel
and
good
then
is a feel
yeah.
good. He
Saved someone.
And
like-
in Man of Steel, there's no such thing
Yeah.
like that, because he is fighting Zord in the city, crashing
Killing
buildings
people.
and people dying. Instead, if it was Christopher Reeves, he would have thrown Zord into a field where there's nobody and then just fight him there.
Oh, good call.
Or pull out the cellophane S and
Oh yeah.
and throw it. Yeah.
trap all of them and throw
Yeah.
them into space.
Anything's better than Batman's shark repellent spray, right? But I do like the Cavill as the Superman. I think it was a great upgrade from Brandon Routh.
Ralph.
Who plays Atom now in
Yeah.
the DC Legends.
Correct.
I actually
Legends of Tomorrow, yeah.
I actually like Superman Returns. I like Brandon Routh as Superman because he harkens back to Christopher Reeves.
So it looks
does.
like
Yeah, he does.
He's got something about the way he looks where
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, you look at him and go like, yeah, that's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And he's got comedic timing as well. Yeah.
Okay. Hated the villain though for that movie.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Kevin
Oh
Spacey,
yeah.
I mean, today,
subject.
yeah, but back then, I really liked him as Lex Luthor because he was very menacing, and the way he kicked Superman when he was down, I thought that was great. But that's just me, I guess.
All right. Now we brought up Lex Luthor, so we're going to move on to the next DCEU film that came out chronologically, and that's Batman vs Superman. And since we talked about Lex Luthor, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I hated Lex Luthor in this film. He was all croaky and he was like...
Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding.
The red coats are coming.
I feel Lex Luthor has always been the guy who's been super confident with what he's about to carry off. You know, like he's very calculate. He knows his plans, and this one just seemed like he was just all
Off the
over.
rails.
Yeah.
Off the rails.
Like insecure. That's why I thought, like, is this an early version of him where he's like an insecure teenager with aspiration to take over the world, and then he's still not sure.
Correct
Yeah,
me if I'm
me-
wrong. Is it more than one Lex Luthor?
No,
No, there's one Lex
Okay.
Luthor.
no.
Okay.
But
But
then
this is his their take on Lex Luthor, that he's like more of a crazy,
Psycho.
insecure psycho. Yeah.
Maybe it's when he snaps. That's when he started like
Yeah.
he's like super serious, and you're like,
I'm
when he
used-
snaps, he became serious.
yeah.
Because I'm used to like the animated version of Lex Luthor, where he's like tough. Like,
He's a big buff guy.
buffy guy,
He sort
and
of stands right next to Superman. You can see like that's his arch nemesis.
yeah, yeah,
Like visually.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you have I don't know, but of course we have to talk about the titular characters for Batman versus Superman. What did you think of Batman?
I just rewatched this movie like yesterday. Hated it. The first time I watched it in the cinema, I thought, okay, it's Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman for the first time on screen. I was kind of blinded by that. Now watching it back, oh my goodness, this is such a slow movie, and I do not understand the motivation behind Batman and Superman to want to fight each other. It was so unclear. It's like something so petty, and then they're like bullies in the schoolyard trying to fight each other. And then Lex Luthor, in the third act, he kind of like calculated everything to fit perfectly into his plan.
Yeah.
Like he knows Batman stole the green crystal. What was that? The
kryptonite.
kryptonite.
Yeah.
Sorry, kryptonite. It's green and it's a crystal. And then
That's what
made
they
it,
used to make green lightsabers. Sorry.
and then turned that into a weapon to kill Superman. Like he knows what Batman is doing, exactly what Batman is doing, as if he can see everything. It's so convenient, the plot. And
He knew the redcoats were coming. I thought it was crazy how the bullying stopped when you say your mom's name.
Oh,
because that was what the fight was about. You know, my mommy's better. No, my mommy's better. No, my mom makes the best cookies. No, my mommy's named Martha. What?
My mom.
your mom is my mom?
Are we brothers? Is this why we're fighting?
Yeah, and then they become best friends.
Oh.
Yeah.
I promise you, your mom will not die tonight.
That's like that movie Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. Yes, we did.
And then Superman's mom, Martha, got kidnapped by Lex, and then he needs the help of Batman to save her. So he confronts Batman and started pushing him. Like, this is not the best way to ask for help. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. There's so many problems with that movie.
But let's not lie, that fight scene was pretty legit in the warehouse.
That 5 minutes that we actually sat through a whole hour and a half for.
Yeah.
I don't think it was worth it, man.
It was, but it was a good fight scene. It was a great fight scene.
It was so short.
I think the litmus test for this would be to get someone to sit down and draw the Batman symbol and draw the Superman symbol, and if that would take longer to draw than what you saw Batman and Superman fighting on screen, which is true, because it was a nothing. Like the whole movie built up. It was Bruce Wayne and how he was pissed off about Superman and how he's an alien and we have to stop him and this and that. And then there's a whole training montage scene and he's flipping tires and like he's doing CrossFit.
All right, Arrow, calm down.
and then at the end of it, it's just this 5-minute thing in the rain, and you're like, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, they've become best friends after that.
There should have been like a small subtitle underneath the title: Batman vs Superman, and then it's fine print asterisk, and then they become best friends.
Yeah, it's for a movie called BVS, and the fight is actually only that 5 minutes, and it's just not worth to sit through, I think.
Yeah.
Plus, when they first encountered each other, when Batman was chasing the bad guys who stole the kryptonite, he wants it. Superman came and stopped Batman. Instead, he didn't wonder why Batman was chasing these vehicles and killing people.
Yeah.
He
assumed. He judged Batman.
Came in, stopped the Batmobile, ripped the doors off, and then
flies off. And then what about those guys? Like, what is going on? I don't understand this movie.
He can't because it's kryptonite.
Yeah, but he didn't wonder why.
Oh, okay.
Why then?
Why
Why people have kryptonite to begin with?
yeah.
Even if he doesn't know it's kryptonite, why is Batman chasing these guys?
All right, many questions to be answered from Batman vs Superman, but I do have to say, good introduction of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
In the trailer.
Del thinks otherwise.
Yeah. See, there's that big problem where she opens a file sent to her by Batman.
Yeah.
And opens up like the icons of Aquaman and Cyborg,
Flash
as if Lex Luthor created those logos for them.
Yeah.
Right? And then
That would have been nice though.
Like, can you imagine that scene? Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Actually, just sitting down like.
It's like I have these files of these these superheroes and I need logos.
Let's call this guy the Flash. I don't know his intro, but a lightning bolt would look really cool.
And
So weird.
this is where TV says, because he's fleshy.
I was about to say, it's flashy. That's why it's a lighting bulb.
Yeah.
But-
And then from the time where she received those files, clicked on it, pack her bags, go to the airport, go into a plane. It only took 15 minutes of for in that time period. So it's so jarringly out of place or unrealistic. And then she just walked off the plane as if she can do that. I mean, she has an invisible jet. She has an invisible jet, and she walks into a commercial plane.
She doesn't have it in this universe yet.
Yeah. She can fly though, or hasn't she learned how to?
She jumped really high.
Yeah.
Incredible Hulk jump, I think.
Yeah. I mean, where was she going on the plane? Where was she going?
Back to France, I think.
Back to France.
All friends come to America.
She was going on holiday.
Yeah.
Then
Very tiring.
Jump to it, like the Hulk.
Jump on what?
Jump to the destination.
She needs to go through it legally, passport-wise, and everything. So
She's from 1918. What passport?
You see, right, Del, when you go holiday, you don't really want to jump or hike to your holiday.
Yeah, then
You want to
relax,
You want to
right?
relax. You want to sit sit down, you want to get picked up by a nice car.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. All right, next movie we're going to talk about is Suicide Squad.
Favorite.
Academy Award winning.
Academy Award winning Suicide Squad. Now, if you don't know, Suicide Squad is, of course, the lineup of the DC villains and how they've all been pushed or forced into a group called the Suicide Squad, where they can be disavowed if anything goes wrong by the government. I don't know. This hit something that sort of indicated that this was going to be a bomb of a movie was the company that did the trailer for Suicide Squad was put in charge of editing the whole movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, which is why it looked the way it did. So the best parts of the movie, the ones that sort of made sense, were the ones where they were introducing the different characters. It's like, and then this is his name, and this is his height, and this is what he's done, which looks like a trailer. But then everything else just didn't make sense.
I feel Suicide Squad was so good in the animated world. I mean, like the characters, like how did it just go so wrong? What?
David Ayer went up on stage in Comic-Con and swear at Marvel, and then he produced this garbage.
Karma, huh?
Karma.
Yeah.
But okay.
You liked it.
No, I didn't. The reason why is that I thought they didn't know how to introduce characters.
Yeah.
Like how Guardians introduce characters.
Yeah.
It was like, we didn't... It's one thing to have an ensemble of people who were like, Avengers are like, each one of them we've seen before, and now they're all of them in one movie. So you don't need to reintroduce them. But when introducing characters in Guardians... Like, I went into Guardians not knowing who they were, but then halfway point, I'm like, I know everything about them already.
Like you pick up the backstory, it's sort of presented to you.
And it was subtly put, like, I was experimented on the rocket. But in this one, Suicide Squad, they had to do and they did it twice.
Yep.
Yeah,
they did.
They did it twice. Because it was once, like the lady who was in charge of the team, she was introducing it.
Yeah, she was having dinner and then she had the files with her.
Yeah, and then either before or after, there was another round of introducing each characters.
That's right, where I think it was Deadshot was in the alley, and then all the other stuff.
Boomerang, Killer Croc, and...
You're right.
And they had to do that twice. And still not, because I was not emotionally involved and I was not invested in any of them.
Yep. So much so that they introduced Slipknot and then killed him off 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
So bad.
So they sat down in the bar and then they did it the third time where they told their backstory.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, so bad.
All right, we're gonna have to talk about this. Jared Leto as a Joker. Now he was built up months, like over a year. Like, this is like the best Joker ever, and he's so into character. He's on the set and he doesn't talk to anyone because he is the Joker. He's sending used contraceptives to his cast members. He
Rats and all that stuff.
Rats. He sent like bullets to Will Smith with his name on it, and then we got that. I would like to believe that he showed up on the set and they were so in awe of him being the Joker that they forgot that he had to be part of an ensemble. And then they took it back to the editing room and like, we can't use any of this. None of this makes sense.
He did say in a couple of like tours, like some press stuff, that they didn't really show the full thing, right? That's if I'm not mistaken.
The line he says was he was asked what was cut out of Suicide Squad, and he said, "Well, what wasn't cut out?"
Attitude.
He's Jared Leto, okay? He's an Academy Award winning, and then he does method acting. So, it's.
Everyone's just sighing at this point.
I wanted to see more of him, though.
The first pictures that came out, right, with all the tattoos and the damage, it is unnecessary. Yeah. It's too much. It's over the top and it's very on the nose. Joker can be subtle. Like Heath Ledger's Joker, that was scary.
Menacing.
Well, we talked about this before. Like, there was a breakdown that there's 3 different Jokers.
Okay.
Right? No, I mentioned this.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
Yeah, there was a YouTube breakdown of
3
different Jokers, and then and then they said that it mirrors the current 3 different Jokers in the movie world.
Comic world, sorry.
The comic world, and then the movie world.
Yeah, because you got the Jack Nicholson one.
You got
Heath Ledger one, and now you have Jared Leto. And
They all correspond to different, because when Batman started, there was a Joker himself went through an evolution where he was a prankster, and then he was just a mobster, and then he was like a serial.
Yeah.
So they were looking at that, and then they couldn't pick out what Jared Leto, which one it was.
This is sort of to say that it's a different person, but they assume the name of the Joker.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
That was the theory.
The theory.
Yeah, that was a big fan theory, I think. Yeah.
But the performance is not that bad. It's just the way that they created this character.
The movie
Maybe,
itself was just bad.
It was just a bad intro. Like, I think Kev, you said it just now. BVS was a great intro for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And Suicide Squad just did not help introduce
Just
Joker.
fell short. It's just what is this? He's just a background character.
And I mean, how would you I could not see Batfleck and Jared Leto Joker on the same screen together. Like, it just wouldn't work. I don't know. Like, it just.
I think Jared Leto was too unhinged for this part. If there is such a thing. But yeah, Suicide Squad, I don't know, the stakes were just not there. You just didn't feel like the world was going to end.
And then the only way that they have control over the Suicide Squad was a remote on the phone, which you can so easily
just sort of blow their heads off, which was not like a serious stake. Like, you didn't feel like they could go anytime. They showed Slipknot with his head being blown off, and that was it. Cara Delevingne's character, Enchantress, was not terrorizing in any way.
You didn't she had some great dance moves.
Yeah, she can.
she can dance.
She can dance. She can
dance.
my question is, like, that scene towards the end of the movie where the Suicide Squad are in front of Enchantress and she's talking to them and she's explaining why she's doing this and we can take over the world. Why is she still gyrating? Like, we can rule this world.
This is interesting to see Kevin in this light right now.
Kevin can dance.
Thank you, Kevin, for that artistic dance routine. Dance.
All right, we're gonna talk about the last movie, the latest movie that came out from the DC.
Wow.
Whoa.
Amateur hour.
From the DCEU, which is Wonder Woman. This came out in 2017, towards the beginning of the year. I think it was May. And we gave this movie a good review and good scores all around. I don't know what else we can say about Wonder Woman.
Like the best DC movie so far. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I had, a superhero movie is done well when certain parts of the movie you're watching, it gives you chills because it's so. You can recognize it from, like, maybe a memory of reading the comic books.
Okay.
Which scene was that for you?
For Wonder Woman?
So when she came out from the
trench.
The trench?
The trench, yeah.
No Man's
But then
Land.
that wasn't because of the comic books. That was like a build-up of what happened and how in our world where women have been pushed down in the past, and then now she's, like, taking a stand and telling the boys that, you keep saying no, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. It's like that was a rising.
I love
Dell's empowered speech is coming out again from the comedy show.
After having rejected guys, I can relate to girls now.
Nice.
I like the meme that came out after the movie where all the guys are looking at Diana. It's like, no, Diana, and then she looked back like, yes, Diana, and then she ran out of the trench. That was not worth it.
It sounded better in your head.
I think it would have been better just now because
I don't know what meme you're talking about.
There was one where the guys look at Diana and it's like, no, Diana, and then she looked back and like, yes, Diana,
and then she goes up.
No, I've never seen this.
All right,
I don't think I've seen it either.
Yeah, show it to us. Okay, so I don't know what else to say about Wonder Woman except that it was a good movie.
Except the ending, the
Power of Love.
Power of Love.
I mean, she Nadzri has never heard me say this, but that conversation when she couldn't hear what what's his name was saying,
Chris Pine,
Steve Trevor,
Steve Pine.
So and then when she kind of woke up at the end, and then she put words into his mouth, and just imagine him saying "I love you," and then she's like, "Oh, power of love! I gotta do this for humankind." Yeah, I didn't enjoy it.
All right. But overall, I like to say again, good movie. If you want to hear our review of Wonder Woman, you can check back on our previous episodes of the Wayang Crew Podcast. And I think that's going to be it for the topic this week, which is the DCEU so far. This is, of course, a run-up to Justice League, which is opening in Brunei on the 15th of November. And we will all be watching it on opening night. And we're going to leave you guys this week with a question, because we have a very special gift to give out, contributed by our friends at Times Cineplex. And the question is very simple. We'd like you to get in touch with us on the show via our Gmail account, or via Facebook, or Twitter, or Instagram, and just leave a comment on who is your favorite DCEU character and why. You have to give us reasons, and we have very, very, very special exclusive goodies to give out. Once again, contributed by our friends at Times Cineplex. We will be announcing the winners on next week's show, which is our review of Justice League opening in Brunei next week. All right. Now we're going to move on to the next bit of the show, which is...
Oi, apa liat-liat? Apa liat-liat? Hoi, 看什么看? Apa liat-liat? Apa liat-liat?
你看什么看?
Apa liat-liat? See what see? 笑了.
That's right, it's called Apa Liat Liat, which is essentially what we've been watching besides, we were talking about the DCEU this week, so obviously we have been checking the DC movies. Del, let's start off with you. What have you been watching this week? Apa Liat Liat.
I have watched
sounds aggressive.
What? Really?
Really? Like you walk next to Apa Liat Liat.
No, I just haven't really seen a lot this week. I just caught up with BVS again yesterday, as I've said, and did not enjoy it. I fell asleep somewhere in the middle, and then wake up to find the fight only lasted 5 minutes again.
So you missed the good part.
I'm sure I missed the good part.
That could have been the good part.
Yeah, I'm sure. I continued watching Spider-Man, the animated series that came out this year.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right. Iron Man showed up.
Yep, Iron Man's in it.
Yeah.
Told you.
Iron Man, and then
Is this the one with Donald Glover?
Is he Spider-Man? Is he voicing Spider-Man?
Someone? I think he's voicing someone in the animated series.
I have not checked that out. But Miles Morales is in this, and he's already got his spider suit like 8 episodes in. And then you've got already like Kraven and Scorpion and Lizard and Vulture. Yeah, they are all in this already. Even in just I've only seen maybe 8 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So it's aimed at kids, but adults can watch it as well for if you want a little bit of entertainment. I didn't mind it. So yeah,
you have this on the background when you build Lego.
That's what I meant by entertaining myself.
All right. Next up, TV. What have you been watching this week?
I finished Stranger Things last week, I think, and now I'm watching Beyond Stranger Things.
Oh, okay. The after show.
Yeah, it's 10 episodes of them talking about behind the scenes stuff of Stranger Things.
Any good?
I mean, if you're a fan of Stranger Things, it would be interesting for you to know what happens.
Okay.
Like the chemistry between the people there, and it's like weird because some of the characters, they don't like each other, but you see them on a round table like, yeah, you stole my girlfriend, it's alright. Because in Stranger Things.
Whoa. I'm halfway through season 2.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You slow your roll.
Spoiler alert.
Slow your roll.
No, not even spoiler alert. We don't want to know.
All right. That's it.
Yeah, I finished Club de Cuervos.
You mentioned that last week.
I did? No, last week I said one episode.
Oh, okay.
It's a Mexican series where 2 siblings were managing a football club.
Oh,
yeah.
That sounds like an interesting.
It's on Netflix. So
okay, is it like a comedy thing?
Drama comedy probably.
Drama.
Like what the boy.
Drama comedy.
I have no idea.
It's like the worst, right? Like, sorry.
The 2 siblings, a guy and a girl. The guy is like living lavishly. It's like, oh, my father's dead now, so I have this football club, and like messes around with the players, while the girl is like really football person's like, don't mess with the players, you're like bringing them to parties and whatnot. So that type of thing.
Okay. All right, Zainal, what have you been watching? Apa Liat?
I'm racking my brains right now. I don't think I've watched anything.
That's okay. It's fine.
The furthest I could remember was I watched Jerry Seinfeld's Netflix special. It just came out a month ago, I think. Jerry Seinfeld has not put out a special since forever.
Since his way before his Seinfeld days.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did one after his Seinfeld days where he retired his jokes. So this is like for the last time. Because Jerry Seinfeld's not like Louis C.K. where Louis C.K. comes up with jokes every single year, special every single year. Whereas Jerry Seinfeld takes like 18 years. And he has stuff that he has done 18 years ago that he still does today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then at that special, he said, this is the last time I'm doing these jokes. And then he's going to start from scratch. So that was a special that came out years ago. I think 10, 15 years ago. And then Netflix gave him bucket loads of money to come up with one more special, and he just released it last month.
And it's all new stuff.
It's all new stuff, and it's all kind of like a documentary / stand-up, where he part of his special is he talks about how he started comedy, and like I used to be in this club, blah, 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 and then I started comedy because of as a kid, blah, 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 and because he's the man, he's like the richest stand-up comedian in the world, and to see him talk about his origin story in story form and on stage and be a comedian is really refreshing. It was like, I like it. Yeah.
Okay. Our guest this week, Nadzri, apa liat.
So before that, Dell, Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales was voiced by Donald Glover, season 3.
Okay, so it's not this one then.
Not this one. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. Just clarification.
Because the characters are all kids. That's why I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I'm on the Stranger Things bandwagon, loving it. Halfway through season 2.
Yeah.
And I caught last week Thor Ragnarok in 4D with the moving chairs and the fans and the
water in your face.
Have you guys ever done that? You've never done that?
No.
I've gone to a 4D theater in Disneyland where you have smells.
Yeah.
So did you smell the
No
Hulk
smells,
or...
no smells. But you know, like if there's like a water scene or whatever, water sprayed in your face, or like a blood sort of splatter, like it'll spray in your face.
Lightning bolt, you get electrocuted.
Yeah, you know, as you do. I think I remember watching. It was an X-Men movie. I think it was not the latest one, but one of the ones previous to that. There was that scene where Logan gets, I think, stabbed in the back, or Wolverine gets stabbed in the back, and things actually pop out from your chair to give you the feeling.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
you get impaled too?
Where did you watch this?
They have it in Bangkok. I saw it in Jakarta last week. So Thor, with the lightning bolt, sometimes there's the big fans come on when Thor enters with the, so yeah. It's different. It's a different feeling.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
I went into a 4D twice now.
Yeah.
I've been to a 4D twice, and I never want to go in again.
No.
Why did you go the second time?
Second time to
Double
make sure.
check.
Double check. I'm giving it a second chance.
What movies did you watch on?
I watched a Taiwanese action flick.
Okay.
In Taiwan.
So you got kicked in the face.
No, the annoying thing was that the spray for like wind is right behind my right ear.
Oh.
Every time something happens and then there's like a wind or something and then it hits my ear and makes me jump. It's not supposed to make me jump. I don't want to feel like a horror movie that's giving me a jump scare.
Oh, but imagine if it was a horror movie.
Oh.
A 4D horror movie.
Oh my goodness.
No.
I think 4D cinemas would be great for like the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Yeah.
I saw one Fast and Furious, and you basically are like it's like you're in the car.
Oh, nice. I think if they had heat as well, that'd be nice. So every time there's an explosion, you can feel the heat.
Or fire would be more realistic too.
If that was the case, then I don't think Fast and Furious franchise would be anything you want to watch in a 4D cinema with heat, because you'd come out darker. There are a lot of explosions in Fast and Furious. Is that it for this week?
Yeah, that's it. That's Stranger Things and Thor. That's it.
Moving on to me, I checked out 24 Hours to Live in local cinemas. It's a movie sort of like from the China conglomerate, once again, Saban Films, who've put out things like The Hitman's Bodyguard and Power Rangers. And it's a story, I don't know, It's Ethan Hawke, and he's sort of like a semi-retired professional hitman. And then he gets pulled in to do one more job, and then he dies on this job, and his employers bring him back to life, and he only has 24 hours to live, because that's how this technology works for some reason. It was okay. It's kind of like what Del does with movies, do something else and have it in the background.
I don't do that. I don't do that. Not with movies, I don't.
It was a good effort. There was some elements in there of you guys seen Crank?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Crank, Jason Statham. Where
he has
to keep his heart rate up. This is similar in a way where
sounds like it's got a good plot.
It does. It sounds like it, but it just doesn't deliver at the end.
Ethan Hawke has these. He's on this phase where he's doing some weird movies on the side. Like Predestination is the one that I watched last, but that was such a mind-blowing experience. I kind of enjoyed it. This one I'm eager to check out, so try not to spoil anything.
Yeah. What I told you on this podcast is essentially what's in the trailer. So
right.
So do check it out if you want to. It's okay. If I were to give it a quick rating, it would be a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's it for the podcast this week on the Wayang Crew. Once again, if you'd like to get in touch with us here on the show, you can do so via our Gmail account, which is thewayangcrew@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, as mentioned earlier on in the show, we do have a special gift to give out to one lucky commenter. I'm not going to say answer person. No, commenter. Yeah, the comment we need this week is your favorite DCEU character and why. We need a proper reason why. Here's a hint: the funnier, the better. And we'll be announcing the winner on the next show. Next week, we're talking about Justice League. Big movie coming out. Excited?
Not yet.
I'm excited.
Wow. I've got high hopes for this one.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Aquaman to make his appearance.
On his seahorse.
On a
Dolphin.
Dolphin.
Yeah.
Because as Tibi says, they look like they understand commands.
Yes.
All right, that's going to be it this week for the Wayang Crew. I'd like to thank my special guest, Nazri, for showing up today.
Thanks for having me.
You're showing up today.
You could have cancelled.
Magically appear.
Well, he's a magician.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. Thanks to Zainal, TV, and Del, as always, for co-hosting. And that's going to be it for this week for the Wayang Crew. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.